We call the meeting to order, and we'll start with the pledge. Remain standing, pass and say prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Pastor Brent.
Father, thank you that we could come today to do the work of our commissioners here. I pray, Lord, you'll give them wisdom in their decisions that they make. I pray, Lord, that you'll undergird them with your strength. Thank you for the opportunity to serve. And thank you for these men and women who have stepped up to serve our county. I pray also, Lord, for our military men and women. I pray, Lord, that you'll keep them safe. And we even ask, Lord, that you bring them home safely and quickly, Lord, we ask. Thank you for this day. Help the decisions to be made. Have your wisdom upon it, Lord, I pray in your precious name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you for the opportunity. I hate to pray and leave, but we got a ministerial meeting going on right now too, so thank you.
Pray and leave.
You know, we got a grant, we got preliminary grants. And I can understand if you.
Commissioner Carl. Commissioner Walters.
1726.
District 3 is vacant. Commissioner
You
Smith.
see what we did here.
Commissioner Virgo.
Corrections to the agenda.
Mr. Chairman, we need to add to the agenda the appointment of a replacement commissioner for Terry Williams.
So moved. Okay, open up for nominations.
Well, there's a motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We'll open up the floor to nominations.
I will nominate Sandra Altman.
Support. Is there any other nominations? Motion to close nominations.
So moved.
Support. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Sandy, you want to step up here and clerk will swear you in?
No.
Do you solemnly swear to support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of this state, and will faithfully discharge your duties as a county commissioner district for District 3?
Take a seat over here. And welcome on board.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner. Mr. Virgo.
Reading of the cash balances. Do you have them?
I'm sorry.
No, sorry.
We went over everything but that.
Marlene, you have the cash
Marlene?
balances?
Ed, those are the ones I just gave you. Where
Yeah.
general fund has 119,822.33, and 516, your unallocated, has 152,856.59.
And I apologize because Marlon did give them to me, but at this point, my mom would say, Donnie, you got too many irons in the fire because I didn't make a mental note of it. Sorry.
And I just want to point out the only reason there is 156,000 unallocated is because 2009 tax year was closed out. There was 300,000 put in there, but 150,000 has already had to be transferred to 101 to pay for payroll this week.
Okay. And we'll pass with our finance reports and executive session. We're not going to do that. We're going to take that up in the next finance meeting. That's to do with the contract with the janitor service. We're going to talk to him and, at finance. Is there any public?
To approve those minutes? Yeah, so moved.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Public comments. Well, you're easy this morning. Thank you. case, we're gonna buy that. Brad, Josh, we're gonna put you up.
Thank you. I'll make this fast.
Remember this guy?
You guys have a application, a resolution of intent, 5311. That's for the operating millage for CPP for part of 13 and 14. So I would ask for that resolution to be adopted. That allows us to collect the funds from the state and feds that they allocated to us.
I would so move.
Support.
Motion supported, all in favor?
It's a resolution.
Wait, resolution has to be, is that a roll call?
Individual.
Commissioner Carl,
Yes.
Commissioner Walters,
Yes.
Commissioner Altman,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Burkle.
Yes.
And that was the 5311 that you did first.
Yep. And then the second resolution, I don't have that in front of me, but that essentially is what we're requesting from the state and feds. So essentially, we just need your permission to send that off. We have adopted our budget down roughly 3.4%-ish, which that needs to be corrected in the minutes, Amy, from the
Okay.
finance minutes.
Okay.
But roughly 3% down, and that's based on what we go back and look at our vehicle hours, and our vehicle hours were down last year. Some of that was because of shuffling some of the NIMSCAs and some of the other passenger groups. We didn't do as much, so essentially that's what the state and feds go off of, but we don't want to be overpaid. So we're lowering that budget slightly for that reason.
Is this the correct, is this the one he's now discussing?
Correct.
I'll make a motion that we approve this resolution.
Motion supported, all in favor? The roll call. Well, move things along this morning.
Commissioner Walters,
Yes.
Commissioner Altman,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Burkle,
Yeah.
Commissioner Carl.
Yes.
So I'm just a few weeks, 4 weeks-ish on the job and figuring it out. This is my first round doing this. Everything seems to be going pretty good. I've done a 5-year average on some of it, but the one number that stands out to me is that on a 5-year average, we have over 102,000 passengers each year that CCT picks up and moves around. So there's a substantial need for it in the county, and I'm glad to be part of it. I'm glad that you guys support it, and look forward to working with you throughout the many years. I also have what's called, it'll be a letter I'm emailing to you guys this afternoon, March on Wheels. And that is the month of March is the Meals on Wheels program, and they ask for county commissioners and state reps and different people to just go out and see what it's all about and get to meet some of the people and see how the program works. It'll take you about 3 hours out of your day. But I'll forward that to you guys. Not everybody has to come, but if we had a few reps from this board, it'd be nice.
That's the lunch?
What's that?
That's with lunch?
Probably. Why not?
We did that in the past.
Okay. I didn't get into those details yet. They just let me know about it yesterday, so. Are there any other questions? You guys have a lot on your agenda, so. Weird being on this side. I thank you guys for doing what you do. I know it's tough, so hang in there. Okay.
Deputy Treasurer.
I just have a couple of resolutions that we need to take care of. The first one you have is going to be for the county treasurer to take care of the PA 105 audit, which basically we go through and look for properties that are getting homestead that should not be getting homestead. And doing a collection process. Most of the money goes to the schools because that's where they can pay them. So we just need your approval on that.
I make a motion.
Support, is there support?
Support.
All in favor?
That's a
Aye.
resolution.
Resolution.
It's a
Roll call.
resolution.
Resolution.
Commissioner Altman.
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Burgle,
Yes.
Commissioner Carl,
Yes.
Commissioner Walters.
Yes.
And the next thing we have is the housing grant, the grant that the Housing Commission uses as a third-party administrator. We went through the state audit, and the last things that we need are your approval of a collection procedure for the CDBG loan and,
We're going to take and do a disassignment for the housing commission.
yes, we need to have, and we discussed, it, we need to have a point person from the board that is going to be the signing person. We have to set it up through the state of Michigan.
I was that before, but the vice chairman will have to do that now.
We will do the paperwork then, so that whenever a grant comes through, it has to be signed by you, and when money goes back and forth.
Karen Blondie will get a hold of it from housing first.
Will you guys put a motion to allow that to be signed upon presentation? That way you don't have to bring it back.
I'll make all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Don,
Just a little bit more there, just.
Okay, that's all I have, thank you.
Thank you. I was going to go with Rick Gent, unless I told you earlier that we're going to take that up in finance next meeting. So we'll go back to committees. Anything else we're missing here? Mr. Smith, committees?
Yes. On the 30th of January, we had a data meeting, and a request has been sent from Gladwin Schools. They want access to our GIS information, and they wanted it for free, and had not put any money in or whatever, you know, to the setup, and at the beginning, we're not interested in it, but now are very interested because they can use it. So we went through considerable discussion, and the final thing that we came up with was that we would charge them $3,000. It had originally been we'd charge them $1 a parcel, which is what we charge the townships, but that came to over $14,000 and went, whoo, you know, that would not be fair. So we came up with, and I do apologize because I thought I had that right in front of me, and obviously I do not. Pull up my computer and see if it's
Is that where we were going to charge them 6,000?
But we went to half of that, so it's down to, that's what I'm looking at. Amy had come up with. If we charge 25 cents per parcel, and that charge then would be $3,523.50. Or we could charge them half of what the whole county, which is $3,000. So either one of those Gina felt was fair. So we as a board need to decide, and I guess knowing schools sometimes have tough funding issues, I believe that we could charge them half of the whole county, which would be $3,000, and I would make that motion that we charge $3,000.
Support.
Do you have some discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. And then immediately after that, I sat in on the Gladwin County Central Dispatch Committee. They did not have a quorum, so consequently could not do a regular business meeting. And they listed the dates of the meetings and how they were, and the discussion had come about that they were going to, since Beaverton, no one from Beaverton was coming to the meetings, that they would just kind of eliminate having a representative, da-da-da. Well, I happen to know very well a Beaverton City Council person. And so I left that meeting and told her about it, and that was discussed, I believe, Don, last night at the Beaverton City. And so there is going to be a representative from Beaverton at the Glavine County Central Dispatch Committee meetings in the future. There will be someone there. Last night I had the opportunity to attend Tobacco Township. I love their meetings. They were 22 minutes and we were out of there. But the really great thing about that was after the meeting was done, we were offered the opportunity to tour the new fire hall. And so I availed myself of that opportunity, and Matt Frucci said that by our next meeting in 2 weeks, they will know when they will have the date set for the ribbon cutting and the official come in and walk through the new fire hall, and all their equipment and everything will be in there. And then later in the spring, once they have some additional paving, they have landscaping, etc. to get done, there will be a big deal when it's warm weather, and I do have faith that that's coming. They will have a big deal, and that will be open, and they'll probably have a kids program and all that other kind of stuff. That big one will be later, this spring. But within the next 2 weeks, we should be able to announce exactly when the official opening will be. And it's really, really a beautiful building. That's all I have. Thank you.
I apologize, we're gonna have to back up here a minute. It's kind of new for me, so we're running through things here.
Mr. Chairman, I do have something.
Go ahead.
When I left a year ago, we were having issues with AT&T and a bill. And Laura handed me this. We're still having continuing issues with AT&T and a line that wasn't used and got designated someplace and didn't get cut off and da-da-da, and that bill is now over $37,000.
I thought Mr. Jacobson was gonna take and write them and do some kind of...
I think that has been done multiple times. And the issue with this is we've been paying $37.13, and that bill has now gone up to $66.83. So they've almost doubled what we're paying. And so I recommend that this be handed to Mr. Jacobson for further.
And I support that. That is the first mention of that problem since you. That hasn't been brought up for any of the agendas here.
Josh?
I hate to jump in here. I've corresponded with Jacobson and the sheriff, multiple different emails Jacobson sent to them. He's talked to different people, they've resigned, or they left their employment, so they need to get a hold of somebody else. It's been a circus, and it's not the first time AT&T's pulled this shenanigans, as the sheriff would say. So I'm not going to beat up on Jacobson, I'm just letting you know that it's been an ongoing issue. I think he's done everything he can do. We might have to take it to another step. I don't know what that's going to be, but...
And the man
There
walks
he is.
through the door.
We
Mr.
need to see
Jacobson,
you for a minute.
we have something for you.
AT&T, the correspondence we've had with AT&T over the bill that we owe them.
They've doubled the price that we have to pay.
First, I emailed a fellow named Steve. Got a whole bunch of emails to him, he's never responded for months now. He was the fellow who was in charge of working out something. But I'll contact him.
You follow it up, let us know next meeting.
Yeah, if you would just give it, follow it up and let us know. And if We need to know what our recourse is. I mean, this is ridiculous.
Well, they send bills, I mean, they'll take the printers to send out bills. But have you ever pursued any question, the answer is no, and I think we have no deal with this. So, we are an unhappy customer, they're an unhappy supplier, and this is Steve, I think it's his last name. Steve is the guy in charge, and he stopped responding to emails, I'm gonna say, 7 months ago.
Okay. But I just, Laura handed me that, so I wanted that part of
And
it.
I gave it to Bob, and Bob said he's cutting that line next month anyway, so we won't have any active service
Right,
with
that,
it.
that line, when he's talking about, had been anticipated to have been cut a year ago.
Yes.
So, it's taken a long time to cut that line.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Now I'm done.
Thank God.
We need to drop down to communications. Appointment of Land Bank Committee, board will be asked to take and appoint Sharon Smith and Bob Balder to fill the vacancies created by Tom Hyman and Josh Reed. Down your communications.
Okay, I do have a, things in the township are going pretty well, but I do have a report for this body from the Michigan Planning Enabling Act. It's your annual written report. They met 10 times, once per month, September and November, no meetings were held. They've addressed 5 zoning issues, site plan reviews, special use permits, and amendment requests. We completed and recommended the Board of Commissioners 2 amendments to the zoning ordinance. They also reviewed a proposed amendment to the Tobacco Township ordinance and reviewed the final draft for Edwards Township Master Plan. And if there's any questions on any of these issues, get a hold of Kim over there, and I would move that we accept the report.
Support? Is there any support? The motion is supported, is there, anyone say? Yes?
Yes.
And he's going to update the board once he knows something more on that issue. Does that mean he's going to request information from them?
Bob is here.
Is he here?
Bob, you want to address that, or the FEMA and
Yeah. We're presently, I'm waiting to hear back from Lee. Our last correspondence with FEMA was that they had received the electronic data from Midland County, and Lee wasn't aware of that. And he said if in fact they did, they were sending in verification that they had received it. I guess Lapham had furnished some of it unbeknownst to Lee on the Midland County one. And if that's the case, we paid for a study that Midland had, and then therefore we'd give them the electronic data. But unfortunately, I haven't heard back from him. I was gonna contact him last week. We were supposed to meet the week before, and then he went back to Vegas, and I couldn't meet him the night that he called, so. But I'll shoot him an email, and as soon as we have that, we'll schedule a meeting and run through it with the township.
because the townships are wondering what's going on and what's taking so long.
Right. Well, FEMA has been the holdup all along, up until this latest one where, I mean, they sat on it for 6 months after we turned it into them, and so I sent them a letter and said, hey, look, we need to do something, and then they contacted us and said, well, we need this, so.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I spoke to, and I also spoke to one of the engineers at FEMA the last 2 days, and so Bob and I will talk about that conversation.
Okay, thanks. We need to go back, action with the vacancies on the,
I'll make the motion, we appoint Bob Balzer and Sharon Smith to fill the vacancies created by Tom Hinman and Josh Reed.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Want to go?
That completes my report.
Okay. You wanted to do finance, Mr. Berman?
Sure. Okay. Matt McGordy, the jail administrator, has requested that he and Sergeant Bruzit, did I get it okay? And Sleaze, be enrolled in a highly enhanced jail management training. The total cost is $885, and this will be paid from 264-000-607-000, once approved. I'll make that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Support.
Motion is supported. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, the next item is, 3 years ago, Laura and I tried to save the county $8,000 for an enrolled actuarial cost to tell us what the unfunded liability was for our retirees' health care. The bill this time was $8,800, and we disputed it, argued about it. I called the state treasurer, talked with him at length. We researched the GASB. Laura was able to renegotiate it with them. We got it down to $4,000. And the state will not accept our audit unless the actuarial study is included in it, since we now have 110 total insureds, including active and retirees and those retirees that are on Medicare supplement. So I'll make the motion. We authorize Laura to make the agreement with ZIP, for the study.
Support.
Motion is supported. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
We've looked at all the alternatives to solve the cash flow problem and that we've been having. Even though the governor has announced recently that we are going to restore the revenue sharing, we still remain in a deficit position to meet the existing budget we adopted in December. And in discussions with Christie and Laura and the other finance committee members, we discovered that the Headley amendment has eroded the revenue to the county by approximately $900,000. And I believe it would be in everyone's best interest, all the department heads and all the residents of Gladwin, if we entertain or bring it to the public for their approval to restore our millage, the Headley that's been eroded by Headley, or the 2014 levy, the tax levy in subsequent years, subsequent provision law. So that's pretty much the legal language that is required, but that would restore $900,000 to tax value to us.
And then ask too that a committee be appointed to that, and Mr. Greer has offered to be on that, and the clerk is offered to be on that. Pardon? Under sheriff and committees to work on this, and we need to set up a date. We need to take this under county affairs and address that, or is that all right with you? Or?
Provide them that tied up or something.
Okay. I think Sharon, we're going to go through committees later and assign some committees. Like I say, we got a busy day to take to do. We'll go through them after this. And I'd like to refer it to county affairs and also help whatever we can. We need to get this rolling so that we can act on it. Is there a motion and support? There's a motion.
I made the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Is that,
I don't think it needs roll call. does it?
But we need to get going on it.
Okay. Next item, our undersheriff has requested the purchase of 3 LifeLock PBTs at a cost of $298 each, with $40 trade-in for each older model that is returned. Once approved, the purchase will come from 265-3000-727-000. I make that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Motion supported. All in favor?
aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay. The jail's entered into a contract for food services with the CBM effective March 7, 2014, running to March 6, 2015. I'll make the motion that the, we permit, or authorize you to sign the contract, Mr. Chairman.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And other than, there's one thing that we didn't have on the agenda, but Sharon and I were exposed to it at the DATA meeting the other day. We've got 38 machines where the systems are going to be non-supported after April. And I don't recall that we put that as a special budget item, but it's got to be then allocated back to each individual department where this machine's got to be replaced. And we had one of those with that system on it at home, and it's got to be dealt with. We're looking at probably $25,000 or so in expenses for it, about $700 or so. Even though Bob's going to make an attempt to negotiate or get bids on it, but we need to be have that put back into our budgets, or at least alerted the different departments that this is it's guaranteed that it's going to be. We have to do it before the systems crash, which ultimately they will. So
Are you saying he's gonna install 38 computers by April?
according to, some of them got to be done even sooner.
It's
according-
that, it actually was, that 38 will not be able to work in June.
So you're saying he's gonna install 38 computers by June?
It,
Because we ordered 10 2 years ago, and there's still 2 of them that are not installed. So I'm saying, is IT Right gonna come in, like, that's a big
oh,
project?
I think that would be,
Okay.
that would be my suggestion. If that big a deal is gonna happen, then it would have to be, that IT Right would have to be.
And we know that. We've talked about and discussed that in finance.
Yeah, those operating systems, we just went through it at home, so. And Bob couldn't possibly, what Laura was implying probably was that Bob couldn't do it alone. And I understand that because each one of the operating systems is going to be dealt with. So IT Right is our contractor for that.
Do we know, though, if that is covered under our contract with IT Right? And if it's not, then would they get us a price to assist with that? That might be something that Dana wants to ask,
Yes.
is
Yeah.
what I was trying to
Yeah,
figure out.
you're
Because
right.
I don't know if that's part of our contract with them or not.
I don't know, even though I've got the IT Right contract, so I'll read it again to see if that is covered.
We'll discuss that next finance and make a recommendation for next data. Sharon, you want to take it up with data?
Yes, I have a note here for myself. I do have an addition on these data meeting minutes. I had a momentary senior moment and had forgotten that Ray Hartwell was also at that data meeting, and I left him off this list where I said the people that were in attendance. I want to make sure that you know that.
Does everyone have a copy of the terms of office, all appointed by the Board of Commissioners? Everybody have that?
That was for the end.
Yeah, I want to make everybody got a copy. Everybody had that today? And then also, we're going to need someone to replace Adolph Presidio. He stepped down from the land bank, so we need a committee. We still need to search for another person for that.
Let's see.
We will get that, no, just for the DPW.
Okay.
Can that notice
And some
you know,
copies.
go in the paper? Because it was actually a form that could be used to fill out if someone was interested in being appointed to that. Miss Editor?
If you want it in today, it's got to be in by 11:30.
Okay.
His term actually, I think, runs through March, so.
Right. So we have until then. So it might not necessarily have to be
Yep.
today.
No rush.
Get it into it.
Why we're on that, does everyone have a copy of appointments to the Board of Commissioners? Do you have that now?
I have it.
Anyone else have that? You're done with your report, would you?
Yeah, yeah.
Do you have any township last night?
Yeah, there was a Beaverton City and Beaverton Township, Grout Township, of course. The new council in Beaverton City is having so many different meetings to go to. So, it's interesting.
This one?
And at Beaverton Township, they were doing the annual budget, which is all, Beaverton Township's in very good financial shape. The city is tight.
Like everybody else.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just take a minute and get some copies back out. So, do you, we need to.
Those were done last year. The new adopted for the sheet will be on it.
Can we do this other one? That's, or we need to go through appointments to see which one wants it?
I would finalize that and then adopt it.
Terry, is she running a copy of the appointment list?
Right. We'll go through, fill it out, then she'll retype it and get it out to everyone. We're doing that right now.
Okay, this terms of office appointment, that doesn't say where they're going.
That's for the land bank, that's what you just voted on, that's just FYI.
That, okay. Thank you.
Yep.
While we're doing that, Mr. Burgle, do you want to address the
What was it, Terry?
judge's letter that we had? that
Okay,
we're gonna Step back on that.
Right.
And maybe Judge Evans will comment on it.
Yeah, because what the new laws, House Rule 4774, I think it is, that changes completely the relationship between the commissioners and elected departments. Historically, if there was a dispute or a difference between the commissioners and the department heads, they would go to circuit court for adjudication. Well, dollars that they got it down there.
Or when it's coming if they do.
Yeah, and so we can't count on it. But what we can count on is this, that if we continue the path we're going on, we're playing lose-lose. The judge and the courts lose, we lose, because it's, nobody's, we can't solve the problem if we can't figure out a way to at least get the public's rejection or support of the Headley restoration. That would help us, but it doesn't, it still doesn't take, it's not a panacea, it's not a silver bullet. In other words, we're still faced with the reality that many of our costs are going to continue to escalate, and so we need it. So what are you saying? I say we should try to find a way to keep from having to go to that 4-judge panel at the state, so that the judges don't have to hire an attorney and we don't have to hire an attorney and so forth. And by doing that, maybe we can make some chicken salad out of chicken manure.
So what would your recommendation be then?
I hope we can find a deal, but I don't know that we're all ready to make the decision that the judge would like us to make today without all 5 of us being able to sit down and cross the T's and dot the I's and get Brusco's input. We still have.
But we could make a decision today, and in 2 weeks, when we meet regularly, we could change our mind.
Right.
But that doesn't, I don't think that solves the problem though, does it?
No, I don't think we're gonna solve the problem until we have additional money and the vote that's going to happen in May.
And I don't mean to interrupt, I think Commissioner Smith's proposed, I don't know if it's a proposal, but the idea you floated would in fact solve the problem, at least in the short run. And the reason I say that is because if you vote to do this, then at least it removes the deadline, and it stops the deadline from running. And the other thing is, you know, as a private citizen, I fully support the Headley rollback. I hope it passes. I'm going to vote for it, you know, as a private citizen. But what I've proposed here today really is separate and apart from Headley, because if in fact whether that gets on the ballot, whether it passes or fails, whether people vote for it or against it, doesn't really matter, because the proposal that the district court and family probate court and circuit court has made would be self-funding. So if we meet these targets, we're going to be bringing in additional revenue that's not in the current budget that would more than offset the $30,000 or so that would be saved. And so I would ask you to take action today. I know you prefer not to, frankly I prefer not to, but I just think we're going to get jammed up against that deadline, and I can't force you to do it, obviously, and I can't control how you vote if you do make the motion, but I would suggest you do that. And I'm a realist, and all the judges are realists. We know that at any point in time, 2 weeks from now, 2 months from now, you can vote to amend the budget. And all of the judges are on notice of what the original December 13 budget, or December 12, 2013 budget was. So I would ask if you could make the motion today, and I would hope that it would pass, and subject to review later.
Kelly, what do you have to say?
Sir, I would just like to know what kinds of things does the court do? Are you looking just to clean up your budget to make this extra $30,000?
Well, much of what has been implemented is through district court, and Magistrate Greer is more familiar with it than I am. But for example, the state authorizes courts to charge a certain amount for probation oversight. And the district court has seen fit to raise that amount within the parameters of what the law allows. That will bring in some additional money. In addition, there are some costs that are associated with court-appointed attorneys. The U.S. Constitution and the state constitution say indigent criminal defendants are allowed or required to have court-appointed attorneys. We have taken some steps both in circuit court and in district court to tighten that budget somewhat. And those are the types of things we're doing in order to bring more money into the county coffers to offset the cuts that the 2013 budget thus far has implemented. And the reason we're doing this is because the courts are required by law to administer justice, and all three of the judges have made the determination that we need these clerks on a full-time basis in order to administer justice fairly and efficiently. There have been major cuts in the district court over the last 3 years. In addition, the circuit court staffing level is the same as it's been for 30 years now. The family court budget or staffing level is the same as it's been for about 18 years, and the friend of the court is at the same level it's been for 17 and a half years. We're not asking for any increases, we're just asking that the cuts not be made.
Okay. I don't think we need to go into a executive session. We're trying to work with the judges, and they're trying to work with us, and we've got a good dialogue going back and forth. It's just this deadline that we're coming up against. One thing with the Headley, we're hoping that relieves us a lot of things. Now, we know it's not going to relieve us down the road, because we're going to be in trouble probably yet down the road. But there's a lot of things we have to do. We got to look at boilers, we got to look at roofs. We're looking at maybe trying to get a couple deputies back later on. We're looking at help try to fund the courts what we can. We're looking at extension office, trying to help them what we can. and a lot of programs that we're trying to take and make happen here, and we're trying to do that. But if it doesn't, it doesn't. So that's where we're at.
Okay, in all of the stuff, most of the public, this hasn't been revealed. Our jail system, our heating system, our boiler system is kaput. It's gonna have to be replaced. And it's just barely getting by. We're spending a great deal of money right now maintaining. The thing with, I get a lot of citizen commentary about the $60,000 that we've taken away from Michigan State Extension. When you go down the line and take each one of these items, if the public is aware of that, then when they make a decision in May to vote for or against the Headley restoration, they will know what the impact is if they say yes or no. And I believe that at this point that we need to resolve the issue, so I'll make the motion that we restore the line item budgets as the judges requested. And let's, if that gets us the time to at least get it looked at objectively by the voters, then let's just try to do it. Let's see if we can make it work.
I will support that, and in addition, one of the things I would like to add is, why would we be spending money hiring lawyers to offset when we don't have that money? And so with the court's willingness to work with what's happening, that's just my opinion.
Will your motion also include to implement the budget revisions to the revenue side as proposed?
Yeah, whatever, how he
Because
phrased
that
it.
has not, I haven't seen this letter, but I have seen email communications from Magistrate Greer. No, that's fine. I just know that he has, if you're going to amend the one side, you need to amend the other side with the revisions.
Right,
that he's
because
proposed.
that's not a fixed or known factor, that's a guesstimate or a swag on the revenue side. In other words, some of the projections that I've seen aren't hard, but Judge Evans said that we could review this and keep, in other words, we can track the progress of that revenue change that Administrator Slees and Magistrate Greer have evaluated. In other words, we can oversee it.
And I think what we need to do is we need a printout, and we talked about that the other day, right, Judge?
Right.
We
And
need
we've
a
provided
printout
some.
of what we're spending and what we're taking in.
What I will do is, if you don't care, I will work with Mike on updating the revenue lines to where they should be, and then bring those back to the next phase.
Okay. Because they would like to have a copy, and so would I, so we can compare what we're spending and what we're paying out.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interject your
No
motion,
problem.
but
But I think that's the big thing. We're not we're not seeing what we're spending, and then we're trying to compare about what we took in, and it's not working. So we need, I think, every month to take and look at these numbers and say, hey, this is where we're going, we're running into problems, or we're doing good. Don't you agree, Judge?
Yes, thank you, Chairman.
We can't rely on the unknowns or the estimates, but that's why we need to monitor them. But that is not the whole story.
And I think what we've been going on is hearsay. Well, one person is telling us, oh, we're bringing this money in, and the other one's saying, no, they're not. We need to see some numbers. That's all there is to it. So, all with that, there's a motion to all in favor?
Roll call vote, please.
Roll call.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Burgo,
Yes?
Commissioner Carl,
Yes.
Commissioner Walters,
Yes.
Commissioner Altman.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge. I'm going to jump in. I got a couple other things here. We got some things that weren't on the agenda, but they're here. Brad, you want to give us a little brief thing of how you're coming, new emergency management director?
If I may.
Before Brad gets started, I've had contact the last couple of days with Lieutenant Sperry from the state police, which is kind of Brad's boss too. We're doing a little remodeling next door, and she asked to have an office there one day a week, which Brad has available. I think it's nice to have the lieutenant from the state police from emergency management sitting in our county, so I think that's a good idea and help direct Brad to where he needs to go. Go ahead, Brad.
Okay, since the 28th, since I was appointed, the picture, the peripheral has opened up so wide. I am learning a lot of what I don't know. Bob Fry has been very instrumental in helping me get my computer up, and Detective Speary, or Lieutenant Speary, has been very instrumental in assisting me to get the forms, the priority forms that I need for the Region 3 and also for the state. I've talked to Rick Gent in regard to requesting shelving inside the storage unit. On the 3rd, on February 3rd, I went down to Midland, the Law Enforcement Center in Midland, and met with the other 13 counties in Region 3, which we are in. That was an eye-opener also. They speak in acronyms. It's difficult because it's not English, it's not French, it's acronyms. I'm learning. On the 6th of February, the MSB coordinator again, Lieutenant Speary, came and assisted me more. I can only say that her presence is needed more. The more she points out, the more I need her more. So I'm learning. February 8th, this last Saturday, Chairman of the Board Terry Walters and Sheriff Mike Shea and I met with about 22 odd citizens of this community of Loudoun County. Some of them retired, some of them still active. Unbelievable amount of background history to them. Very professional. A lot of them retired, I say, but held licenses and positions of authority. Very nice to have those people supportive of this county, Loudoun County, and available with their expertise to assist. The purpose of that meeting was to organize the CERT team, the Citizens Emergency Response Team, which I think is great. One of those retired licensed builders is going to assist in the storage unit next door, where we have boxes, pile upon boxes upon pile of boxes, with no capability to visually itemize what we have, inventory what we have. Dale Taylor is his name. He lives up in Barrett Township. He's going to come down, and he's a former licensed contractor. He knows, he measured it with his eyes, which is something that, you know, quality people can do. And he's going to put some shelves up there, and we're going to pull things out of the boxes and be able to inventory them with a stamp of finger instead of what I've got right now. But it's coming. I'm saying thank you for entrusting me with this confidence and learning. And I've got the bull by the horns, but I'm getting thrown around a little bit here yet. So
Shouldn't have been waving that red flag, right?
that's what I do. But do you have any questions of me?
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brad. Okay, I want to take and go into appointments. Everybody get that sheet? We'll go down through them and stick your name in. Or, Board of Commissioners, Central Michigan District Health. Don's going to stay on that. And Commissioner Carl. Zettel Airport, Don Burgle, and we need a person to step into that. Is there anybody interested?
I don't know anything about the airport, but
Don don't either.
I'm here. I'm afraid to fly.
Okay, you'll be on that?
Sure.
Construction codes, we need to talk to Justin about that. There's some renewals and stuff that's gonna be done there. Department of Public Works, Adolph was on that, we'll call Justin about that for terms. We still need a commissioner to fill in on that. I'll do that. Eastern Michigan Council, that's okay. Library Board, Sharon can stay on that. Community Mental Health, I'm on that, that's all set. Northern Michigan Counties Association, that's the big one.
I would like to be excused from that one, and maybe Sandy or Sharon would like to point that one.
Area of interest in human resources and people, I'll bet you that that would be, if you would accept that, that would be a good committee for you to sit on. It's not a good committee for me to sit on, because I get real,
Anxious.
To the point.
Frustrated.
you wanna try it?
I don't know, I need to talk to you more about that.
Okay, I'll talk. We'll put a question
When do they
mark.
meet and so forth?
Every 2 months.
Every 2 months,
Well, I mean, what day? and-
on Monday. They meet on a Monday, and it's, I can't remember, I've been gone from it for a long time, but they meet on a specific Monday every 2 months.
Okay. Veterans Affair, I'll stay on that. Region, Area Aging, Adolph was on that. We need to advertise or whatever, to find some person to be on that. Fair Board, Don and, I think we had an alternate, just
You were the alternate.
a person at large. Yeah, I can do that.
Is that one of the committees, Terry, that we cut to one person?
Fair Board? Just, we had an alternate on that before, in case one commissioner couldn't show up, the other one did. And then we had a person at large, which was Mr. Babcock at one time. So, me and Don will take that. Human Services, I think that's all set.
No,
Cease break.
Marie Monahan passed away, so
We might have to advertise for that too.
Did Sue Sprang move?
No, let's see.
She's still here?
I'm pretty positive, though, we made an appointment to Marie's position prior to her passing away, because she had resigned.
I can't answer that, I was not here, so I don't know.
I think we
Yeah,
did.
I think we did too.
You'll have to go back and check the minutes on that one.
Okay. Sue Spring probably would know.
Clerk Lavin 2000 Residential Loan Review Committee, is that in service yet, or is?
I've not attended one of those meetings in the 16 years that I've been here.
I think we'll move on with that, I don't think that's. The Michigan Community Action, Kathy Wilton is on that, but I see, that's expired, so you have to re-notify her. Region 7B Training Consortium, Michigan Works.
I would like to be replaced on that committee as well, Mr. Chairman.
Dennis Carl's the alternate on that.
Yeah.
Sandy, I think it'd be interesting for you.
Okay.
I think, give it a try and see how you like it. Municipal retirement system, the MERS system. Anybody?
That's now voted on based on if you attend conference or not.
So we don't need to.
No.
You can just mark that as a committee of the whole if you'd like.
Advisory Council on Aging. That's expired. Anyone know anything about that?
I would imagine that Sam probably has been,
Radnowski was,
probably has been going.
Okay. We'll have to contact him.
He might be in Florida.
Parks and Rec,
We
Mike
don't
is
need
still.
that,
Pardon?
we don't need that Parks and Advisory Committee.
Well, I guess it comes back to commissioners. I still would like to have an update from Mr. Seebeck every quarter or something like that. We need to have that.
And has he been doing that? I mean, that was
Not
the
lately.
setup that was supposed to be done.
Not lately.
Um,
We need to get a hold of him and have him come in and do an update for the full board.
Okay,
Send him a letter.
yeah.
And Sharon and myself are on that, so, but that's being done by and that's all. I don't think that's really any necessary too.
What's that?
Next one down, family board.
Judge Evans, you're on
So,
the
Judge
Family
Evans,
Initiative Board. Do you meet?
Initiative.
Oh. I don't know.
That's where we're at too.
You might want to check with Lauren on that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, I almost said Commissioner Reed, but Josh, you want to check on that with Dr. Lauren?
What one was it?
Family Initiative Board.
Okay.
Judge Thomas McLaughlin is no longer the judge anyway,
Right.
so.
That would be Judge Evans.
Okay. Building Authority, that's, some of those have expired. We need to contact
Can you
them.
check with Justin on that?
Yep. Gypsy Moth, I know Deb is still there and Earl Sharpus, but we need to update those, it's 2012. I can be on that. Dennis Carl, Saginaw Bay, RCG. They're that active or?
You know, that's going to talk on that. I've asked them numerous times to give us updates on what they've done for Gladwin County, and have yet to get anything from it. I don't know if it's worthwhile for the board to continue in that.
We just remove it and? Yeah. And remonetization, I put myself on that. The chairman was on it before. We need a placement for Mark Sheldon. I'm sure the road commission have talked that they have a replacement for a new engineer, and they haven't given me the name yet, but I guess that's moving along.
Along those lines, Gina sent me an email about, they're putting a new tower up
In Secord.
in Seacoast, and the person doing the installation needed a number so that they could do it for 911 and stuff, and couldn't go anyplace to be able to get an assigned number. And so that's something that this is really going to have to start being active with, because GIS and stuff needs that kind of information.
Okay. So we'll leave for Mark Sullivan, we'll just put road commission and see what,
Last night, Larry Miller gave a report and said that they did not have, they didn't have a replacement or anything, and probably would not until the meeting next week.
Town Memorial Restoration. Jenny's on that, myself. Memorial out here in front. Commission representative for EDC. That goes kind of along with Michigan Works, and you do that all at the same meeting,
okay.
right?
Well, No, those are separate entities,
No,
but
they're
they are tied together, so
Tied
we should
together.
probably be
Yeah.
on that as well.
Yeah. I think they're only like an hour apart.
Yeah. They,
Mr.
Yes.
Wilson, so is Sandra gonna be on the EDC?
Yes.
We meet tomorrow at 8:30 in Beaverton, at the, what is now being known as the Beaverton Activity Center. That's that two-story.
Oh, the old
Yes.
school building?
Okay, so that's 8:30 in the morning.
And we need another person to be on that? Or not?
Bill Road was on it, we didn't take him off it.
If he's on it, that's fine. But his time has expired. Yeah, we'll contact him and see if he still wants to be on it.
Bill Rhodes is still on. I think we do need, according to our bylaws, a representative from the board, and then I'm gonna maintain my spot on there, so pending final approval from the Housing Commission Board tonight, but
Okay, so then we're all set.
if Sandy's on, yes.
Yes.
Yep, we'll be set.
Committee to work, city commissioner, and I'll be on that, and then Don, you want to be an alternate on that?
Sure.
See, Bill Rhodes is on that too.
Yeah.
511 council, judges on that, sheriff. I'll take the chairman position. Friend of the Court Advisory Committee, no such thing. Central Dispatch. Don, can you be on that?
Yeah.
And then Brad Lauer's at the bottom. 911 Committee.
Yep.
Human Services Coordinating Body. Bertle is on that. And you need an alternate there? Okay. And then MSU Extension, Don's on that. Is there anything I'm missing?
Amy's gonna email us a copy of the updated version.
That's a lieutenant's period next door. There was a issue, some of the townships are doing spraying, and maybe Josh will want to talk about that too, but if someone needs, they want to do spraying for mosquito, county could be the person that would take and help them out there somehow, some way, financially, not financially, but to administer the money.
Essentially, all we wanted to do was just help them facilitate their meeting. They could come here if there was 5 or 6 townships that wanted to get together and decide whether they wanted to go out for bids with these 3 or 4 different people. We'd have no ties to the money whatsoever, but we'd help facilitate.
Right.
And we could email them out again, because now's about the time, and townships were asking if we were gonna do anything, and I think a no-cost help to them as far as facilitating, it's easy enough. That's always an offer.
Beaverton Township has signed the contract for the mosquito treatment.
There's been a few already that have signed contracts, but there's a few asking too, so whatever you guys decide to do.
We talked about the department head meeting, and I talked to the clerk. We'll have that the same day as finance, like at 11 o'clock, and that's what, third Wednesday?
Finance is always the Thursday before the first meeting.
Right. So we'll have finance.
So we missed this one, so it would be next Thursday at 11. for this month.
department heads and elected officials. That way, we're there already, so we don't have to make a special trip in, and that works around everybody's agenda. And I hope to have, the next meeting, Commissioner Whittington's family come up and,
I have been in communication with them, and Cindy and I went back and forth last night, and she wanted to know what time. I told her that our meeting started at 9 o'clock, but I would, after talking to you today, I would be able to let her know specifically what time, and she said that she would notify the family.
probably 9:15.
Okay.
And then two, Rick put them up because I wanted them set up, but I hope that the family allows us to keep the picture and plaque here. And but that's where we wanted to put them, if that was okay with everyone. These are kind of guiding over us. So we'll do that next meeting.
I'll make sure she knows.
ORVs, some townships have submitted that. And I've got a list here, just we want to send a note back to them that if any changes on that, we need to take and have it done right away. Was there any questions on that, or?
Essentially, we'd sent them out an email some time ago, and they needed a reminder that, you know, give them a deadline, another week or so. But any changes that they would like to see, let you guys know, you guys can vote on it, and then submit it to the state MDOT so they can change some of those.
And I seen Buttman had one, Secord had one, and Barrett had one. So I don't think there'll be a problem there. Any comments, public comments?
Mike?
Josh, if they have the changes,
Mike,
we would
sure.
be-
Yeah, just real quickly, starting next Monday, there's gonna be some significant cuts to the court security staff that are in this building. So you'll see them around substantially less based on budgetary constraints from the board. So we'll try to work with that as best we can. Of course, we need to accommodate the courts by statute, number one. Number two, there was some alluded to the billing from Doug Jacobson, and the sheriff was kept in the loop, and I just want to remind the board, that's got little or nothing to do, in fact, nothing to do with 911, even though it gets mailed there. We've made that substantially clear in the past when the bill was substantially less than it is today. The only reason that we get it over there to that address is because the trunk lines for AT&T's trunk lines come into that building and then get distributed. So don't confuse that bill coming over there that we're responsible. And that's been my position all along, and it's just as a reminder today. I don't want to be stuck with that bill. If it was up to me, I would have taken care of it a long time ago.
We thought it was your bill.
It's not.
Okay. One thing I want to, yes.
On behalf of the Gladwin County Leadership Program, BAGLE, I want to thank the county because last Friday we had our law module here and also with the sheriff, et cetera. It was really quite good, and we have 10 really good, well, actually, and it would also involve the young leaders, the 5 from Gladwin and the 5 from Beaverton High. And so it was a very good program, and we were here using your facilities, so we thank you.
Thank you.
Do any of them want to volunteer to serve on some of these committees?
I dare say that if you and I need to talk, because what I'd like to do is be able to take that, because that's one of the things we're looking for. What kind of work, and we have many times, where can we volunteer? And you never quite know what somebody's interest might be. So I would, I would like to know that, what are your county, nothing ventured, nothing gained. And I have to leave shortly, but I'll try to get in contact with you, or you can call me or whatever.
Do you have my phone number?
we got a lot accomplished today. There was a lot of paperwork I got here yet, but, there was a problem with, we can take care of, the 850. That was the last minute. We put a vote, there was a problem, we said last meeting or meeting before that we hired a secretary, and it was gonna be around 20-some hours a week, and it would be $8.50 an hour. Due to the contract, it was $8, so we need to amend that today. If we can. Are you familiar with that, Don?
I didn't see the contract, but I know that
No, she
it
just,
was $8.50.
just mentioned
The
that.
non-union benefits manual says you start at $8 an hour, and that's what you hired her under. So if you're gonna bump a step, you need to actually put that to motion to
I will
allow.
make a motion to increase her pay by 50 cents an hour effective immediately.
Support.
Motion is second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. I might add that Amy's really picked up and has got a lot of things done here that caught up, and I really appreciate what she's doing. And if I can give her $10 or higher,
Is that effective today or the date of she was hired?
the day that she was hired.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Move to receive and file.
Support? Motion supported. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Motion adjourned.
Motion to adjourn.
Support.
Motion supported, all in favor?